Testosterone's a real problem too. Testosterone levels used to be super high. Make men strong and competent again. Make women feminine. But the vast majority of people want to be ruled. They want a ruler, tell them what to do, stand on their dots, 6 feet apart, wear their face diapers. Relationship with a woman that hates them, that's already been through 45 dudes. Testosterone decline. Testosterone's a real problem too. Testosterone levels used to be super high, or much higher than what they are today. It's 40, like in the 40s or 50s even. But there's been a general decline. There's a book called Estrogeneration by Dr. Anthony J, and he talks about all the sources of environmental estrogen mimicking compounds that are lowering testosterone. I touched on a few of them, like estrogen in the tap water, atrazines, dyes in food that mimic estrogen, packaging within plastics. A lot of these things would, like, you fix a lot of those things, you're going to fix the decline in testosterone. But again, this is something that the state knows about. I asked Dr. Anthony J when I've had him on a podcast, I said, do they know about all of this estrogen that's in the tap water? He's like, they absolutely know. I'm like, do they have ways of removing it? They absolutely have ways of removing it, but they don't put systems in place. Instead, it's send $250 billion to Zelensky, right? Instead, it's print money and give it to Israel and give it to Palestine and Iran and Lebanon and whoever else has their hand out, Egypt, like all these places. Let them figure out their own problems, man. Let them figure out, like, you have enough domestic problems here that you shouldn't be sending money and like, what is it? Is it money laundering? I don't know. You guys figure it out. Inflation, that's a money issue. Jesus. Religion of peace, belief of authority, which allows governments to exist. Get rid of white guilt and wokeism for starter. Dr. Martin Lloyd, never heard of this guy. Debt, immigration, sin, obesity, and addictions. Rise of socialism, the isms, right? The ultra wealthy, money in politics, and our accountability on how we vote for policies that are better lives. We talked a little bit about that around borders, energy, lower rent, and cost of food. Well, I mean, the cost of things go up is a consequence of inflation with bad fiscal policies by the state. I mean, just years and years and years of just inconsequential, with no regard for years down the road thinking at all. Just terrible, terrible planning. Fluoride, Wi-Fi, censorship, weak men. Yeah, there's a lot to fix. There's a lot to fix here. And you can fix a good deal of it, covering some of the stuff that we already talked about earlier on. Good deal of it. Make men strong and competent again. Make women feminine. And prioritize children. Men should prioritize children as well. But you have to remove all of the things that are de-incentivizing men and women from coming together, from pursuing excellence and creating family wealth. Taxation needs reform, voting needs reform, immigration policy needs reform, foreign policy needs reform, military needs reform, leadership needs reform, all the isms need reform. I'll be honest with you, I think the best way, and I had this conversation years ago with a good friend of mine, Amir, and we were talking about city-states. Instead of nation-states, city-states. I think the start of this could come in some way or regard with city-states, with like the formation of policies that support a strong culture, system, society, financial policy, government. And it's going to have to start at a smaller level, probably at the city-state level. And it's like, if you don't like it, you just leave that city. And if you like the policies, and you move to that city. And things will sort themselves out. If you set good, strong policies, as I just described earlier, and you start at a city-state level, things will sort themselves out. Because the people that don't like it, they'll leave and they'll try to go somewhere else, thinking that it'll be better. And let them deal with their ideologies in an area somewhere else is totally fine. But I think comparing city-states with the adoption of a lot of the things that we talked about would make it very, very clear, especially over a longer period of time, like over about 10 years, like I think over a decade, If you have city A, which does things the way that we do shit right now, and you have city state, which is B, which has new policies that I just talked about, and 10 years down the road, you evaluate and you compare city state B to city state A, I think you're going to see a clear distinction in the quality of life, the wealth, health, the happiness, uh, the birth rates, the tax structures, the leadership, the medical, military, all of these things could be modified, I think, within a reasonable short period of time. I think you would start seeing changes within 10 years. I don't think it would take a generation or 50 years or 100 years. I think you would start to see positive impact, provided everybody buys in on it very, very quickly, or reasonably quickly within about a decade. So that's just my take on it. I know maybe it's clickbaity by saying that I'm going to fix all the West problems in one podcast, but we talked about a lot of the main issues that seem to come up over and over again. And I mean, I'd be happy to run. I would donate my time to run it, but I don't think people are ready for that shit. I really don't. I don't think, because people want free stuff. They don't want freedom. They don't want any of the things that we're talking about. Some people do, obviously, because you see the comments there, and you guys watching it right now. But the vast majority of people want to be ruled. They want a ruler to tell them what to do, stand on their dots, 6 feet apart, wear their face diapers, go to work like a good obedient pleb, pay their taxes, get their job, their job, so they're just over broke, carry their debt, barely living. Maybe there's enough money at the end of the month, maybe there's more month at the end of the money, in a relationship with a woman that hates them, that's already been through 45 dudes, that's planning her exit. People don't want a lot of change. They talk about change, but all right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here, where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.